Answer is these topped, maxed out in terms of investor expectations, but more importantly, the doctors that we spoke to in the US yesterday, the key opinion leaders, they're wowed by the data. So the company's ecstatic, the market, as you can imagine, you saw the share price reaction, love the data, the docs like it, and the patients should like it given the benefits we saw in the SELECT study.
What does it mean for your expectations for peak sales for Wegovy? Ultimately, the question is all of this good news now baked into the share price? Well,
with the stock on 30 times forward earnings, you say yes, but I think the bigger picture, you've got to see the wood for the trees. Here we have a situation where we have the obesity market, the diabetes market, maybe NASH and Alzheimer's, but the GLP-1 class is already today a $30 billion market. It's growing 60 to 80%, and it's a two-player market. It's the Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly show, and that doesn't look like it's going to change. And data like this is going to fuel, I think, patients' demand for the drugs, the physicians' willingness to prescribe, and most importantly, payers' willingness to reimburse. And I think you mentioned that in your comments.
We spoke to Novo Nordisk at their last earnings a couple of months ago, and one of the things that came up out of their earnings is they were having some supply chain issues with manufacturing. They're struggling actually to meet demand. Is this something that can be easily rectified, do you think?
Well, both Novo Nordisk and Lilly are working night and day to ramp up capacity as quickly as they can. And as you mentioned, the problem is they are doing so, but they just cannot match demand. So I think it's not going to be a quick fix. We heard Lilly yesterday say the same thing, periodic supply outages. Novo is going to have the same issue. But when you think about Novo in the last 10 years, they spent $11 billion on CapEx. In the next 10 years, they're going to spend $35 billion in CapEx. So they are stepping up to try and meet that demand.
What about the side effects? I've been reading more and more articles about class action lawsuits that are going to be filed. Namely, they talk about things like stomach paralysis as a side effect from taking these drugs. How impactful could those legal cases be for the performance of the drug from here onwards?
Yeah, I think when a class of drugs gets this much media attention and awareness, I think things like the developments like we're seeing, suicidal ideation, the stomach paralysis will come out the woodwork. I think when you think about the class of drugs, they've been around for 15 years. Some of the issues you talk about, the warnings are on the label. And when you counter that with some of the benefits you're seeing, not just on blood sugar control or weight loss, but now proven outcomes benefits. I mean, 20% relative risk reduction in cardiovascular death, non-fatal stroke, MI. That's, I think, every drug has a benefit risk profile. I think at the moment the benefit risk profile is definitely positive rather than negative.